Hi, this how you doing? This message today is message chat, I would say. Inspiration is about how to remain sensitive despite it all. When you were born as a baby and they smack you in the bum, right? You cried, right? That is first sign that you're alive, right? The umbilical cords were cut. You entered into this thing called being a human being, right? From the time you were born and whatever, it's probably Jesus says that unless you become like little children, you cannot enter the kingdom of God. Return to innocence is such an important part, especially if you've been beaten up enough in life by the depths of hardness. The intention of evil forces is to harden you as much as possible. Okay? The impossibility kicks in when all through your life you decide, no matter what, I will not become bitter and allow bitter to get hold of me. I instead will become better, right? Sensitivity is a it's a high value diamond. It is so big and so rich. The people who possess it through their life, okay, are able to how can I put it? It is an asset. They're able to grow into something bigger and richer, right? When it's operational through the person in their environment, their workplace, their contribution through their life as they move through it, right? To become sensitive or to be a sensitive person, you operate with a refinement. You have definition. It shows itself through your skin, through your face. It shows itself through your manners, right? You're more than just decent or decency. You operate. You really are. I mean, trying to find words here. You really do operate on a high class level. Sensitive people are high class, right? If you were to observe sensitive people as even as they step out, whatever may be given to them, right? Whether you find him stepping out of a limousine or you find him stepping out of a ratty old car, there's a certain dignity they walk with and they have. There's a certain smoothness to their life. Because they're so sensitive, they're also very aware of their internal manners. Jesus said, there's one time the disciples came to him and he said, Lord, would you like to call on fire from heaven and destroy them? Because the damned wouldn't want to agree with Jesus, right? Here's the Almighty God before him, the sensitive one. And he goes, whoa, whoa. He goes, I didn't come to destroy men's lives. He goes, you don't know what manner of spirit you are of, right? Sensitive people have a very good ability to throw off bitterness. When the pain comes and when the anger comes, the anger because of it, or when the effect of the damage given to them, they go into a much more deeper, and they are affected more deeply than a person's heart. And through that depth, they're able to stand under what is a level of the message that is being handed to them, and what is a level of the pangs of the pain that came to them. They begin to grasp that. See, so the pain not as much you use the word cripple, may stop them, be a showstopper to them for a while, but they are processing the sensitivity processes, the healing in a much more effective manner. Where you would find many people in the hospital of life, they are in the hospital, but they find themselves very quickly in the recovery room. When you can put them from emergency to operation to diagnosis to recovery more quicker, okay? And that's the thing. That's the thing that's magnificent and beautiful about being sensitive. Now, the downside about sensitivity is sensitivity gives way too easily to people's rendition of their truth. And what I mean by that is that people can present themselves in a certain manner. Sensitivity welcomes them a little bit too easily instead of kind of uh, judging them more quickly than the way a hardened person would. But what's really nice about sensitivity, sensitivity as it learns to grow with its, as it's experiencing enough pain or whatever, it's also able to see that person as a person who's sick. They judge them differently. They judge that person differently. What I mean, they're able to weigh and decide and discern quickly the condition of that person. And they, through the process of their experiences, when they decide to say no to that person, it's on a deeper level, okay, than a hardened person. In that aspect, they're able to they're able to keep themselves safe through experience. Whereas a hardened person doesn't keep themselves safe, they become unsafe. They will be vindictive, revengeful. They will use language. I'll hurt you before you hurt me. When they're in a dance with another person who's a victim just like them, they both end up speaking the same language. Whether it be through their emotions, the dance they will go into with each other, that where both of them ends up be like porcupines or like cactus trees, punch each other and run away, punch each other and run away. The sensitive person sometimes, and this is the most important part about a sensitive person. A sensitive person can speak words of wisdom to that person who is broken, who's despicable, who's evil, and pinpoint and send forth words that can actually even break up the fallow ground, the hardened ground, that they are able to, oh, find some healing, right? So why sensitivity is so important to hang on to and to still remain that way. It is the valuable beside other qualities, but one of the most valuable assets, not a liability, an asset to have in life. And where the sensitive person really begins to grow and mature in their sensitivity, that when they actually have true friends, their life is so much more valuable, but it's so much more meaning, has so much more meaning to it. It's so much more depth. And be around these people when you're having conversations with them, whatever, man, you enter into a place with them. It's called the depths. Deep calls unto deep. Just because of where they've been, you haven't been. If you're hardened and you're given to bitterness and all these other things, they're able, another thing about sensitivity, they're able to see right through you. Never be fooled by a sensitive person. And you can determine them. You can determine it because when they care, they really do. When they look at you, they look at you. They're looking into you. They're not the kind of person that kind of just blasé. They're not blasé. They're too deep to be blasé. They're very special, man. And like as I said in other videos, they're set apart. You see, all of these qualities that when one embraces these qualities and remains this way through their life, they cannot but elevate and become set apart. They begin to resonate and they begin to be under resonance, that the same frequency as the Most High. So they're always elevating. They're always, their frequency, like butterflies, from whatever they've gone through in life, man, they can always leave the cocoon and go through the cocoon, but they emerge. They understand their name could also be called the emergence. They emerge. Whereas hardened people can't emerge. They end up in the ground. They end up in the dirt. They end up becoming snakes, right? And there's still always the invitation to return back to sensitivity, because sensitivity is innocence. Innocence is still beautiful because whatever you may have had from there goes back there. You can always go forward to the new, and you can always have as if that doesn't come with you, because there's so much new, refreshing, and beautiful things to have and experience in life. And it doesn't mean it's not always hard. It's not always evil or hurtful. No, because there's a lot of people who are just like you out there. And once you get together, once you've left some of that stuff behind, you find you're not bringing that into your newness, because what you want to have in your life, depending upon your level, you want to have other people. They're not going to show up and be sensitive. And at the same time, they begin to want to share with you their hurts and their pains, and they can't stop, and their bitterness. And before you know it, they're poisoning your sensitivity. Man, I'll tell you this, like, it is so important in life to leave the poison. Let the poison be drained out of you, whatever it is. A snake poison, when a snake bites somebody, what's the first thing that people do to save that person? They try to suck the venom out from them. And God is in the business of taking that venom out of you if you are allowing Him to be that person who's always there walking with you. And He will. His guidance, His counsel, His wisdom. He even said in His word, you will hear a voice in your ear saying, turn from the left to the right. Go this way. As the Bible even says, the prudent foresees evil and hides himself, but the wicked pass on and are punished, or the simple. Your simplicity is not your sensitivity is not in simplicity. It is in the modesty of those who remain simple. And what I mean by that, you don't have to have all these things attached itself to you. You're not complex. You live in a complexity because those who don't understand you will see you as complex. But the thing is that you're basically a complex, simple, modest, amazing person walking the face of the earth. And one of the best signs that you know you walk in sensitivity, animals will relate to you, and you can communicate. You can even even just look at an animal and talk to the man without saying a word, the animal will pick up on you right away. And I've seen that. Nature itself. I'll end with this. There was a story said of a man that laid down in a forest, and the animals came by, sniffed him, and went and walked away. The animals that would have torn him apart, right? The snake comes by and just slithered over him and went away. I'm not saying it's always going to happen, so don't go out there and try to prove it, right? But where I'm going with this, they observed this guy, and they only came to one conclusion: he was safe. That's why the animals left him alone. He was safe. The snake didn't smell enough from him to want to bite into him, because poison loves poison, right? There was something coming off from his rays, from his life force, that even distracted the snake from biting him. So what's beautiful about being sensitive, this stuff's going to be coming off from you. And you're always going to be safe to be around. You're always safe. And that is where you hone your ability to know. And I'm going to get into this in another discussion, but you hone your ability to guard what you have from the scavengers and the swine who wants to get your benefits. And that's a narcissist. All right. Have a good day. Remain sensitive at all costs. At all costs. Hang on to it like there's nothing else in life. It is a beautiful virtue and is virtuous. Have a good day and do like and subscribe. Thank you.